Jeff had always been known for his ability to sleep anywhere, anytime. He could fall asleep in class, during meals, and even while watching TV. His friends would often tease him about it, saying he was like a bear hibernating through the winter. But Jeff never minded. He just shrugged it off and continued on with his day. One morning, as he walked into his math class at 7:00 a.m., he felt particularly sleepy. The previous night had been restless, filled with strange dreams that left him feeling unsettled. But he pushed through the tiredness and took his seat in the back of the room. As his teacher droned on about long division, Jeff's mind started to wander. He imagined himself in a world where numbers were the only language that mattered. In this strange land, he was the king of arithmetic, ruling over a kingdom of digits with an iron fist. But then, his teacher's voice pierced through his reverie like a sharp arrow. "Jeff, wake up!" she shouted, pointing at him accusingly. Jeff's eyes snapped open, and he stood up, rubbing his groggy eyes. The class stared at him in disbelief as he struggled to stay awake, his body rebelling against the cruelty of sleep deprivation. As the teacher continued to berate him, Jeff couldn't help but feel a twinge of embarrassment. He had always been proud of his ability to sleep anywhere, but now it seemed like a curse. Why couldn't he just stay awake for one simple math class? But then, something unexpected happened. As he stood there, trying to fight off the slumber, Jeff felt a strange sensation wash over him. It was as if his body was being invaded by a mischievous spirit, one that refused to let him sleep. The spirit, who introduced himself as Jason, took control of Jeff's limbs, making them jiggle and twitch in time with the teacher's lectures. At first the class was shocked and amused by Jeff's antics. But as the minutes ticked by, they grew uneasy, sensing that something more sinister was at play. Mr. Jason had taken a liking to Jeff, and he refused to let him rest until he got his revenge on the sleepy students' tormentors. As the class continued, Jeff found himself in a strange battle of wills with Mr. Jason. The spirit was determined to keep him awake, while Jeff fought back with every ounce of strength he had. It was a war of attrition, with neither side giving an inch. Mr. Jason began to taunt Jeff, mocking his struggles to stay awake. "You're so sleepy, you can barely keep your eyes open," he cackled. "You'll never be able to defeat me." But Jeff refused to give up. He gritted his teeth and focused all his energy on fighting off the spirit's attacks. He could feel Mr. Jason's power coursing through his body, trying to drag him back into slumber. But he resisted, determined to stay awake, no matter what. As the class continued, the battle between Jeff and Mr. Jason reached a fever pitch. The other students watched in amazement as Jeff struggled to keep his eyes open, while Mr. Jason did everything in his power to make him fall asleep. It was a clash of wills, with the fate of Jeff's grades and his reputation on the line. Finally, after what seemed like an eternity, Jeff emerged victorious. With a burst of determination, he overpowered Mr. Jason and sent him scurrying away, defeated. The class cheered as he collapsed into his seat, exhausted but triumphant. From that day on, Jeff learned to control his sleepiness, thanks to the lessons he had learned from Mr. Jason. He realized that sometimes the things we take for granted can become our greatest weaknesses, and that with determination and willpower, we can overcome even the most formidable foes. As he sat in his seat, catching his breath, and trying to shake off the lingering effects of Mr. Jason's attacks, Jeff couldn't help but feel a sense of pride and accomplishment. He had faced his greatest weakness head-on, and he had emerged victorious. It was a lesson that would stay with him for the rest of his life, a reminder that even the most seemingly insurmountable challenges can be overcome with determination and willpower. And so, Jeff continued on with his day, feeling more alert and awake than he had in weeks. He knew that Mr. Jason would be back, but he was ready for him. With his newfound strength and determination, he could take on anything that came his way. What was Jeff known for? Jeff was known for his ability to sleep anywhere, anytime. Why was Jeff teased by his friends? Jeff's friends teased him because he could fall asleep in class, during meals, and even while watching TV by. They would say he was like a bear hibernating through the winter. What happened to Jeff one morning as he walked into his math class? As Jeff walked into his math class, he felt particularly sleepy due to a restless night's sleep filled with strange dreams. Who did Jeff encounter in his math class that day? In his math class, Jeff encountered a mischievous spirit named Mr. Jason, who took control of his limbs and made him jiggle and twitch during the teacher's lectures. How did Jeff emerge victorious in his battle with Mr. Jason? Jeff emerged victorious by overpowering Mr. Jason and sending him scurrying away, defeated, with a burst of determination after what seemed like an eternity.